that there's a lot of days that suck, and you want something to hold on to remind you that there is good, and that there is beauty, and that there is humor, and there's lightness and whimsy, and that was just such a moment. So thank you for a week full of moments like that. We have some awards to hand out, and before we get to that, we've learned from years past that Mrs. Blazek often sneaks off before she allows herself to be thanked. So, from the cast. She has been tireless in recording, and she's going to be even more tireless in her editing. Every year she preserves this for you so that you can remember what you did, and you can in fact hang on to those moments and remember one another. It's just an incredible act of selflessness and service. And so thank you again, as always, Mrs. Blazek, for everything that you do for us. Most of these awards are voted on by you. I tabulate them. It takes about an hour because there are so many different nominees and so many different vote getters. So I want to hand out a couple of awards first in terms of their service to the show. A couple of techies. I want to give the Most Excellent Techie Award to people who stepped up in a huge way, volunteered at the last minute, gave up their time, gave up their effort, and worked together to make this a great show, handling all kinds of weird lighting cues and weird sound cues. Most Excellent Techie Awards, Michael Anderson and Asha Suresh. I've been watching her the last 3 days as she, without prompting, without cue, without really any notice, steps in and does whatever needs to be done. You saw her the last couple of shows, handing out programs, helping people find things. Whenever myself or Mrs. Van Milligan needed something tracked down, Courtney was on it without really anybody having to tell her. She was huge about cleaning right now and kind of leading the efforts for that. I want to make a fuss over her. So I wanted to give, I was like, we don't really have an award for that, but I wanted to give an award. This week is supposed to be about coming together and building a good culture and making a place where everybody feels like they're honored and welcomed. So the Spirit of the Week Award goes to Courtney. Best Villain probably is not going to be a surprise to anybody, although Raisin was terrifying this year. But the biggest villain this year was Ben Moss. Alright, we had a couple of high vote getters for Biggest Laugh. It's a very funny show. There were, every night there was funny lines, absurd moments, and then just people selling things with their body. 2 awards for the Biggest Laugh. The first. Mei Ling, I'm gonna give this to you. JB Microwaves Mei Ling. These 2 performers received so many votes for different things in their skit that I just had to combine them all together. The other Biggest Laugh award goes to Priyanka and Pooja are white. moment in a performance where everybody leans in and the hair itself feels like it's not moving, and you can feel the hairs in the back of your neck kind of standing at attention. And we had several moments that were the biggest goosebump moment that were vote getters. Two that I want to highlight. The first one, Molly's letter. Goes to somebody who I don't know how they delivered their piece. You know, many times during the crafting of it and writing of it, I asked, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" And this person said, "Yes, I know how to do this. I want to do this." The biggest goosebump moment goes to Anurag Sesnabad. Usually the best single sentence goes to like a mic drop moment, a dramatic piece, or a message piece. This year, it went to two of the funniest lines in the whole piece. The first one, scripted by Nora, haha, oops. Yeah. By reading it out loud. So I'm going to give it to the award winner who played her today. I hope she'll say it to the whole cast. You belong to the streets, man! But it belonged to the hearts of everybody else. Alright, we also give an award for the best WTF just happened moment. The monologue show always has moments where people are like, did that really just happen? Because a lot of the stuff that you write comes at like 2 a.m. when you're like exhausted and just kind of slap happy, and you just put it in the script and you're like, Mr. Ross will screen this out. Alright, so, yeah, all three of these. You guys chose well. Alright. First, the best WTF just happened moment goes to Navia in a box. Yeah! Alright, the second goes to a moment that shockingly interrupted a moment of happiness and peace where Tomato, the brave was trying to bring together the warring factions when out of nowhere, Raisin stabs Tomato. This one I wanted to keep secret as long as possible. I know a lot of you found out ahead of time that he was going to do it, but the look on everybody's face in the Friday night Zumba session when Shakira was cut off by the magic mic. Dylan the Shark is magic mic. I do private sessions. We give out one award for Best Newcomer. We give out one award for Best Returning or Most Improved from previous years. The Best Newcomer goes to a senior, and I really wish that this person had been with us sooner because his piece was so funny and got huge reaction. Amartya. Yeah! so many votes, I should say, for her piece because she's worked really hard, and this piece came in kind of like in kind of more of an idea than a piece, and she worked on it, and she added a twist in the middle that I think made it really special. Asa Suresh. But we had more musical performances in this monologue show than we've had in 12 years.
Yeah, music!
When I walked out of auditions, my wife asked how I was like, you're not going to believe how good you're going to sound this year. So we have 2 award winners for Best Song. The first one goes to a freshman, Sarah. And the second one goes to a senior, Nana. Okay, best dramatic piece. We've done very few horror pieces over the years.
There you go.
The last one we did, I think, was a couple of years ago when one of the cast members was possessed by the devil and it was really creepy. But everybody kind of knew going in what it was. Come on up, really intriguing was the audience wasn't sure how they were feeling until the last moment. And it's a credit to Ben and to Brandon for that. Okay, best skits. We had a lot of wonderful, funny skits with big casts and a lot of surprises. I'll say more about this person in a moment, but it's very fitting. For the second year in a row, Kelly and Aiden. All right, so in a skit, you're playing somebody else. Obviously, Kelly is not a tomato. In a comedic piece, you're playing yourself or a version of yourself. All right, and so the best comedic piece this year then features somebody who is playing themselves or a version of themselves. Now, I don't know what they were like in utero, but I have to imagine that they were more or less how they were depicted on stage. Best comedic piece goes to JB and... All right, best message piece goes to a person whose piece carried the most resonance and read those words to like a really powerful performance. You know, it is the monologue show, and we feature a lot of monologues. This is one that went through a lot of stages and took every second to get the words exactly right. But when she did, they were incredibly powerful. Best message piece goes to Elsa. Best duo or ensemble. This is either the best, the cast that congealed the best, or came together the best, or a pair of performers who just were electric on stage together. I don't know if this is fair because they've been playing this act, I guess, literally since birth. The best duo or ensemble this year, Luke and JB. All right, most valuable cast member is an award that goes to the person who is kind of a Swiss Army knife. Their job is to play as many different parts as they can. Sometimes they have a lot of lines. Sometimes they're just there to like toss a ball. almost unanimously, the most valuable cast member was Ben. All right, don't get too comfortable. Our final award is for best performance. This is for the piece that was just most electric, and the piece that was mentioned most often was Beyond the Woods. Best performance, Ben Moss. Okay, all right, we have a lot of seniors in this class, and so I'm going to do my best to try and honor the seniors. If I get the years wrong or if I leave somebody out, please accept my apologies. But I want to try and honor the seniors as best I can. This is a very special class, and I'm going to talk a lot about the seniors that we're inducting, but the thing that I think is most important to say about the seniors is that they kept this thing going. The monologue show was literally the last thing that the school was able to do extracurricularly before everything shut down. We were on stage in, I think, the end of February in 2020. And 2 weeks later, everybody went home. And everything was done after that. There was no state beat for lots of things. There was no musical for lots of things. There was no everything shut down. When we came back provisionally, it was in a different form. We had to bring people in, they would film their piece, and then we would, Mrs. Blaze put it all together for a YouTube special that would premiere so that you could watch it. Needless to say, fewer people participated in that. I was just overjoyed that we had a show to do that year. It was a tough year for students, it was a tough year for me as a teacher, and I needed the monologue show in my life. I needed to work with something that was meaningful, and people that year had a lot to say. When we came back the next year, I wasn't sure what kind of turnout I would have for auditions. I didn't know, would people remember the monologue show? Would they, come out for it? And the senior class led the way. I had tons of juniors that year, and they came back this year too. So, I'm gonna have a lot of cause to think about this class for the way that they carried the torch. Next year is the 20th anniversary of the monologue show. It would not be as healthy as it is today, and there would not be so many people in this room who had a wonderful experience if not for these seniors. So, all right, please stand up. I think these are our one-year participants. Amartya, Maddie, Alekya, Jenna, Amy, Alice. No. 2? All right, hold on. Brandon? Is that right? Participants: Dylan, Elsie, Jeffy, Jocelyn, Molly, Naina, Ushi, Aiden, Alushka, Asha, Navia, JD, Alice. Is that right? Alright, I want to say just a little bit, if you guys just mind just standing up, I can say I said sentence about each one of you. Nina has been an invaluable cast member in terms of helping other people, but also creating her own special pieces. Her song this year was obviously very beautiful, and everybody really responded to it, and you can all see her writers. Asha is somebody who came last year and talked about her family, and this year talked about something that I know means a lot to seniors, which is time, doing things for yourself.
Japji is another person who has been in multiple people's pieces and skits. A very thoughtful writer and somebody who improved tremendously from year to year. Alice was just, usually I have to tell people, like, you need to be louder, you need to be louder. Alice really knocked the bricks out of the walls with her songs and her voice. Yeah, space is too small for you. And also, like, a very good friend and somebody who, like, gave a legitimate performance in Molly's piece. Molly wrote something that we've never done before. And again, we did a lot of pieces, but we never did a piece like what Molly wrote, which is a generational love story and a thoughtful and mature one. Elsie, I've had in class. I've watched her run. She is somebody who lives her passions and lives them authentically and has come to love how they define her. Dylan Sedgwick. It's a point now where he doesn't even have to say anything. He just comes on stage and raises an eyebrow or looms over Ben and gets a laugh. But is an incredibly generous performer and will come in a pinch and play a teacher, with a couple of lines. It's not a comedic role or a giant baby that requires you wear funny clothes. Cushy is a 2-year performer. Her piece this year was absolutely beautiful and really well done. Alushba worked hard to get her piece right, and I'm so glad that she stuck to it because I think it really fit you well and fun. It's you. It's the piece that you should have done, and I'm glad that you stuck it out. Nadia, I trust you. You know what you're doing as a writer, and your piece was, you know a lot about what's to come for yourself as an adult. Jocelyn, you've been such a rock for so many people, and you've matched Emily's desire to write about love and family and friendship, and I gave you the charge to go up on stage and go there, and you did. You did it right. JV, what a funny, generous performer, somebody who did a lot for a lot of people and picked up Mei Ling and spun him around. And, but also, was there for whatever Luke needed you to do last year, which was a lot. You have to remember a lot of lines. And Aiden, such a great collaborator, somebody who could pitch a very funny line, but also pick up something that somebody had that was funny and spin it and bring it together. So thank you, seniors. Thank you very much. All right, some Hall of Famers that I want to honor. All right, Joel, come on up. I'm going to say a thing about Joel that I'm going to say about a lot of people. Well, actually, just a couple. Joel really cares about me, and he, obviously has incredible ambitions for himself, and those ambitions have carried him to prominence in a lot of different areas. Obviously, he's very decorated. But what I admire about him is that he cares about the school and he cares about other people. And he has a heart for other people. There are a lot of people whose sense of ambition and desire for achievement focuses them narrowly on just themselves. There's never been Joel. He's a very generous person. When they said that his Mr. NVHS performance asked everybody to dance with him, I was like, of course, that's very fitting for him, because he would want everybody to be in on it and not just be about himself. And he's been that way for the show too. He's a great champion for other people, and somebody who, in his pieces, always takes his time to honors others, like his parents tonight. So, Joel, for 3 years, thank you so much. All right, Emily.
every one of Emily's pieces has been about love in one form or another, and like all the sides of it, right? Of course, the giddy, euphoric sides of it, but also the terrifying parts of it, and the sad parts of it, and the frustrating parts of it. It's my favorite subject to talk about, and I always appreciated that she was always open with herself and open with her heart. Writers have to be brave. Writers have to write about what's going on in their life, and every year she brought that in. That's what she did. She was just showing me her tattoos the other day. And one of the wisest things I ever heard somebody say about tattoos is like, you never regret them because even if you outgrow them, like they remind you of who you were at a particular time in your life. Like that's why you get them, so that you can remember who you were. She wrote pieces that are going to remind her who she was, and they're also going to help her understand who she becomes. I'm very proud of her together, so thank you. One of the things that I was thinking about Elsa's piece is, and I told her this too, was that it took her years to write. Sometimes, as a performer, you know exactly what you want to say, and you know exactly how to say it, and you're just saying, all I need is the stage, give it to me. Elsa has been a different person, but I've observed growth in her every year that she's been a part of the show. She's come having learned something. Knowledge comes easy, wisdom comes hard. Sometimes she comes knowing things, sometimes she comes with wisdom. But every year she's learned, and she's taken those lessons and put them into what she's written. The piece that she wrote this year was a synthesis of everything that she had learned. And the first draft of it was, 11 minutes? Which is fitting because she's learned a lot. But among the things that she's learned is how to be a writer, which means you condense and you focus. And the piece that she came up with and finally performed represented both the life lessons, but also the lessons of the craft of writing. So somebody who has learned a lot and has shared those lessons, thank you very much. All right, Anam, come on up. I met him when he was a sophomore, and he wrote an incredibly insightful, beautiful piece about people who are growing up too fast and what that's like for him. From the moment I met him, I thought, this is a 30-year-old man in a 15-year-old's body. You meet teenagers sometimes, and one of the thoughts that you have is, how do you know so much? How do you have this wisdom and understanding about people when, as a teenager, often all you can know is like your own awkwardness and how you feel in your own things. But he has always been observant and sharp. When I had him in class, I was always aware that even if he was not feeling the most excited about the lesson, he was always watching and always observing, and his writer's brain was always taking in details. His work often blends hope and sadness, experience and desire. And he's somebody who, with a couple of lines and a turn of phrase, can make you feel two things at once, right? Ambiguity, which is really hard to do, and not a thing that any teacher has taught him how to do. It's just his soul. But also tonight, he wore a banana costume, and when he was dancing Zumba in the banana costume, I thought, this too is a novel. So lest we think that he's just the soulful poet, he will also put on a banana costume and dance Zumba in front of everybody. Buddy, they broke me. I'm going to miss you a lot. I can't wait to see the kinds of things that you write. So thank you. Spitfire. All right? Spitfire is a word that is used in the 1920s to describe somebody who is flinty, who is full of moxie, who is somebody who is kind of a live wire. And I gotta say, I've had her in class for 2 years now. Yesterday, Friday, yeah, yesterday we had work leg. Yesterday we had a trial in class. Many of the students were asleep. Arnie was not. Arnie got up and let the other side have it as the prosecuting attorney. And it did not surprise me at all because whenever there's an opportunity for her to perform in front of other people or to speak her mind without like fear of like retribution, and I often don't think there's too much of a retribution about. All right, let's everybody have it. Your line in the show tonight was the perfect line for you, and the line that I always remember, even though you do not belong in the streets. I'm on the throne, and I'm so glad you got one. But anyway, you brought such energy, such humor, such passion, and this year, so many people to it. And also every year you challenge yourself, and this year more than ever. So, all right, I'm really gonna miss you. Well done. Thank you for everything. All right, Kelly. Kelly is one of the most fun performers, writers, and collaborators that I have ever worked with. She commits full-heartedly to every skit that she does, and she is the master of what we call selling the bit. So if she's got a joke, even if it's a half joke, and it's never a half joke, but even if it was, all right, she's going all out with it. All right, so she's got an idea, and the idea is that fruits and vegetables are fiber. So she's got this idea that a tomato would be both a fruit and a vegetable, so it would be on both sides. And she's got this other idea that the grape became a raisin, and the raisin was curdled. And so she just finds all of these things, but not only does she find them and sell them like, she brings other people into the process. The last 2 years, Kelly's pieces have been enormous, sprawling casts. And everybody in the cast gets a laugh line. Everybody in the cast gets a chance to shine. She brings in people who are her friends, but she also brings in people who have never really done that kind of thing before, and she lets them, be part of something that is really, really fun. And I really want to emphasize that, I was letting people out for intermission, there were people in the audience who were singing her song. And she enjoyed that song so much that every time she performed it, she was laughing at it, because it was so much fun for her. You can't teach something like that. That's just somebody that comes from a person's heart, just the ability to have fun, to make things fun for herself and for other people. Miss Van Milligan paid her the highest compliment yesterday. She said that's somebody who could write professionally for comedy skits like SNL. Miss Van Milligan knows something about that, right? Because her sister, was a writer for comedy and everything. So Kelly, can't thank you enough for everything you're doing. Luke had a bad day, you guys. Here are the things that happened to Luke. We made a list. Here are the things that happened to Luke today. He had to go to a youth and government conference. It was a super snort fest, and it was all the way in Downers Grove. So he got up at 5 a.m. Right now it's 10 a.m. 10 p.m. So he's been up a long time. Then he had to go to something with your cello or something got broken. Yeah, his cello got broken. He plays the cello. Then he got into a car accident, and his pants fell in a puddle. Yeah, that was not good either. Yeah, great. But guess what? I've been working with Luke for 4 years, and there are many Luke's had many bad days. When I met him as a freshman, I can't remember if there was one All right, so here I'm getting to the good part. I didn't bring you here to mock you. I came here to praise you and thank you. By the sophomore year, I figured out why Luke was having all these days. It was because, one, he was so involved in the school, and so involved in so many parts of the school. Two, he wanted everything that he did to have 100% of it. And the thing that high school teaches you is that you can't give 100% to all things. Like, you cannot do everything all the way. You can do it in middle school because it doesn't take much to like impress, whatever, project editor or whatever, like in middle school. But in high school, but in high school, like, there just are so many excellent people who have, like, focused and specialized that you can't give everything. But he never stopped. All 4 years, he gave everything. Everything. And by the time he was a junior, and by the time he was a senior, I understood that. And I recognized that. And I love that. He is somebody who people know because he's been successful. People know because he's cared. And he's given so much to the school, which is my home. So, Luke, thank you for giving everything to everything. Thank you very much. All right, Sharanya. All right. I got to have a long conversation with Sharanya about college this year because I was really curious. She's incredibly decorated and diligent and pushed herself and challenged herself. And I wanted to know a little bit about where her head and her heart was at in terms of college. And they were divided. Her head was saying something, her heart was saying something, and it was very stressful for her to wait because there was not going to be an easy resolution to that division. This week, as I've watched her work on her piece, as I've watched her think about how she wants to deliver her piece, which, as you all saw, was a summation of her entire life, to this point, as a stage that's about to find its conclusion. I saw somebody who had the words right, and her piece was incredibly well written from the first draft. She really wanted to also make sure that her heart did it justice as well. She asked after her dress rehearsal, how am I going to do this right? How am I going to be up there and make sure that my heart is able to this? And I wanted to burst into tears in that moment because, Sharanya, you were there already. You have always given your heart. You have always put your heart into it. You are not just a person who accomplishes all these things as a study. You've given your whole heart to everything and everybody. Your heart and your head have always been together. And the reason that I know that is because your sister sang about it. And, she obviously sees you and knows you better than anybody. So, for being a person who never had to do this, but did it because her head and her heart wanted to do it, thank you for everything. We won Best Newcomer her freshman year. She also won Best Song. And I think those are really important to remark upon because the last 4 years, I mentioned already earlier tonight that we had more musicians in this monologue show than we've had in a dozen years. And I put the credit for that squarely on you. For being somebody who was very, very visible and very, very engaged in the musical aspects of this show. But also because she is incredibly inviting. People want to be in things with her. They want to do things with her. They want to be friends with her. I've watched her, as a cast member, move around and bring people with her. She made the monologue show a place where people wanted to be. She made the monologue show a place where people wanted to perform. She made the monologue show a place where people felt like they could be welcome. There's 1,000 different ways that she has done that these last 4 years. She will always be the best newcomer to me because she changed things. And now I have so many more musicians. So thank you, Neve, for 4 wonderful years.
Thank you.
That's our seniors. Those of you that are juniors or sophomores, I think we only have 3 freshmen, is that right? 3? I have 5 freshmen, okay. Here's the thing, like the seniors who, were honored and, that I talked about tonight, they were sophomores and freshmen when they started, and I hope that you will remember what they have done, and I hope that you will come back next year, and I hope that you will carry the torch, because that's how I remember the senior class. This is a thing that keeps going every year. Like, it's a different cast every year, it's a different show every year. I love that if you miss a show, you miss everything, right? It's not like where you're going to go to see a play, if you miss it one night, you can go see the same show. It's not like that, right? Blink and you miss it. Things change, things move on. It's crazy to think that in a couple of hours, this black box, which has been our home for the last week, is just going to be another room in the school where things are stored and people come in and practice their music, and most people just walk by and don't think about it. One of the things they're going to walk by, plaque with those names, and that plaque will stay. And that plaque will have more names added to it next year and the year after that, because of you. So, we made a cathedral this week, and now we're taking it all down. But, we're back here next year, and I hope you will be back next year. And I hope in the intervening 365 days that you are writing. You should never stop. You have things to say, people need to hear them. Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful show. Thank you for a wonderful year. I will see you guys soon.
This house talks a lot about how the monologue show is made up of all the pieces in it, and how this room only exists for a week, and how it's very special because we all come up on this stage and make it our own, which is definitely true. But the person that brings all of us together to be here is Mr. Rossi, and I missed every single meeting freshman year, and he is there all the time whenever we need him for any piece to edit anything. And it's the dedication of an educator and mentor and friend that is extremely rare, not only at NEQA, but in the world. There are so many people here that have told me, Mr. Rossi changed the way I do high school, the way I do life. Mr. Rossi helped me figure out what I want to do as a career. Right? That is crazy. And it's crazy that he gives up so much of his life this month, every year, to do that to people. And some of them only stay for 1 year, and he still values them. And I think that's just so incredible. So in the tradition, we have a box full of letters for you.
Yay, the letters!